Yes, my name is 𝘼𝙑𝙊𝘼 𝘽𝙡𝙪. I'm married to Miriam Bwanika. We have 4 children now, 1 girl, 3 boys. Yes, we just had a baby girl. Yes, and it's exciting to know that side of the world. Yes, I have a graduate degree in business administration. I have a postgraduate degree in project planning and management, and I have a certificate in telecom engineering. What more about my qualifications? And quite a number of other certificates that may not be very purposeful in this conversation. Yeah, but I'm a Christian. I love God. I go to a church called Ebenezer Chapel. So my business is telecom infrastructure. So we build infrastructure to support network operators. So in the telecom business, usually there's infrastructure that enables the network operator. So the network companies don't construct this infrastructure on their own. So I'm one of the contractors. My business name is Rovers Enterprises, but I also work with a company called 𝘼𝙑𝙬 Uganda Limited as the head of operations. So what we do is we build telecom masts, solar structures. We do refurbishments for sites, telecom sites, like generator swaps. We do any other works around telecom infrastructure. That's our main strength. We've been doing that for the last 10 years. And we recently started to work with a company called American Towers Corporation. So we've been building masts for them for the last 3 years. Between the last 2 years, we have built 30 masts. Yes, we have done lots of other solar structures because we have sites that are powered by the grid but require renewable energy. So we're supporting them as well to introduce renewable energy on those sites. So we've done about 80 of those in the last 2 years, and a few small works that do with generator swaps and refurbishments. So Rovers is inspired from the fact that I thought about something that always moves, and roving is really covering ground. So I thought it would be very nice to have something that is dynamic, and that's where the name comes from, Rovers, because we keep moving and keep changing business direction, changing opportunities, finding new opportunities in different markets. Yes, that's why I thought Rovers was a good description of what we do. One of the areas that has caught my attention has been really new ideas to support the telecom network companies, because from my exposure, I've seen there are so many things that other countries are doing that we are not yet doing here in Uganda, and I feel like, yes, going forward, I need to be more creative, so I want to introduce new technologies in the network space. Yes, but there's a lot of construction still happening with masts. I thought at some point that we will not need to build masts, but looks like even the US and the UK are still building masts. So on top of building masts, I want to concentrate a lot on the new technology as well that is in the market to be able to support the network operators. Hopefully in the next 5 years would be one of the leading solutions with the network creative ideas. So there are areas in the country that cannot have telecom masts, because probably the number of people that are in that area are very few. So it doesn't make business sense for the network operator to put a telecom mast there. However, there's a technology that allows the network to be supported on a billboard. And as far as I know, every part of this country has billboards. So I'm thinking of introducing a technology to the network operators that requires setting up a site, but within a billboard. You don't need to construct the whole tower. So that means they don't have to pay as much money as they've been paying to construct the tower, but they can still take their network in the areas where they're still behind with the network coverage. So it makes it cheaper for them, but also it creates an opportunity for the for billboard owners, but also to own billboards and have them also host a network. Yes, one of my biggest struggles has really been working capital. Currently, we rely a lot on on banks, and sometimes the process is a lot slower than the work itself. So my efficiency is brought down by the fact that I have delays in financing some of the projects that I'm working on. So I think one of my urgent needs now is really working capital. Yes, working capital towards financing the current projects that I have, because I'm running quite a number of projects with quite a number of network operators, MTN, Airtel, ATC. So they run concurrently, and you'll find that many times we are choked up with the work, and the finances are not enough. But then I'm actually evaluated on efficiency. So because the process of getting finance in delays, then my efficiency also comes down. So if I can improve on how my working capital comes in, then I will work on my efficiency as well as a business. Right now, my revenue annually is about 3 to 4 billion Ugandan shillings, which is about $1 million. Of that, I probably need about 2 billion or thereabout, which could be about 600,000, 700,000 US dollars. That to cover up all the projects that I get in a year, that would probably be sufficient, yes. Yes, something about my business. It gives me an opportunity that very many other businesses rarely get, because we work on various sites in different parts of this country. So we interface with different communities that are having different challenges. And it gives me an insight on the daily livelihood of people that are out there. So it gives me an opportunity also to connect with new people all the time, because you have a project maybe in one part of the country, then the next one is in the opposite side of the country. And you're dealing with different cultures, different people, and it has really, really taught me how to interact with people, but also given me the opportunity to say and share my values that I have. Hopefully, if I can move it beyond Uganda, it still provides the same thing, because when we go to a site, maybe in a particular district, we don't move with the casuals. So we have to get the casuals from that very... So, of course, most of our work involves a lot of civil works, construction, which requires a lot of casual laborers. And it doesn't make business sense to carry them all over you, wherever you're going. So we decided that wherever we go, we try to incorporate the casual laborers where they are, which gives us an opportunity to interact with them, but also share Christ with them, but also live with them and understand what their challenges are. Yes, ever since I attended AVODA, my look on social impact has changed a lot, because before I came for the AVODA Blue course, I think I was doing this as a job. Now, AVODA made me realize how much opportunity I have by interacting with the communities that I'm interacting with. And I'm a bit more intentional. Before, we would work on roads for the community. For example, if we're working on a road for a site, we still work on a road for the community, which they didn't have before. And it didn't hold much value to me as it does now. But also we would share with them things like water, meals, and the things that we carry along. Some communities, we share with them clothes. And again, I was doing it mainly because of the job that I have. I mean, I was found in that kind of space. But now I'm more intentional about it. And when I'm training my teams, I actually make sure that they look out for the social impact and how they can keep some of the contacts that they have in the societies they go to. One of the ways is through the values that we have. And we have decided that wherever we go, I do my best to ensure that the team leads are people with Christian values. So when they go to these societies, they're actually sharing the Christian values with them. And where the opportunity arises, we actually share the gospel with the people that we meet. And many times I've realized that we have not had any issues on the ground, because part of our work is to acquire the leases on the land that we build the masts. And sometimes it's very complicated. If anyone knows what land is like in Uganda, you would know it's complicated. But because of the kind of values we present to them, and we've made so many friends, we have had people actually work with us very well. And you even find people in the community that are calling you to say, oh, you need to help me. I have a mast here, and I have not been paid, maybe because of the way we interact with them. So my emphasis has really been on the values that we have as Christian, being shared and lived, even when we are in the field out there. There's a particular site we went to somewhere in, it was Bushenyi, and one of the ideologies around the kind of work we do is that people actually sacrifice children to be able to build the mast so that it doesn't drop. And it's quite interesting. So we visited the site, we were trying to acquire the land, and this was the second time we were going there. So when we get to the site, we met an old lady who was a mother to the owner of the property. So we interacted with her, and she said, no, it's okay. Let me give you my son to take you to the land. So we moved up on site. So when we go to the site, we finished checking out what we wanted to do. We come back down, and the community had gathered, and they had suspected that we had taken the child to be sacrificed. Luckily, we had the child with us, so we didn't get lynched. So we had to explain to them, that we don't do that. It doesn't happen. It's an idea that they have, but it doesn't really happen at all. So we also found out much later that the old lady we talked to was deaf. I don't know how we managed to communicate. So when someone else came around and convinced her that they have taken the child to cut off the head, it was so easy to believe. So we didn't know she was deaf, but we managed to bring the situation to come at that very time, and we explained to the locals. They actually gathered, the border men had come around. So they took the child home, and we left the site. But honestly, on another day, it's possible that if the child had stayed up playing or anything, we would be lynched even before they get to know that the child has remained behind. Yeah, so there are a bit of struggles on cultural beliefs on what happens. Yeah, but for now, again, because I think our values come hand in hand with the way we do our work. So sometimes it becomes very difficult for someone to confront you if you haven't been offensive to them. So yes, that was the incident. Oh, AVODA. I don't know if it was an inspiration, but I think it was a godly inspiration, because I met Pastor Kilama on a day where we had a totally different topic to talk about, and he spoke about this. My mind had been yearning for something Christian that could help develop my values as a businessman, and I had no idea. So many people had pointed out a few things, but I didn't know that something like AVODA existed here. So when Pastor Kilama asked us to get in touch with Joshua, we actually did. And when I spoke with Joshua, I felt like what I had been looking for was exactly what AVODA presented to me. Because at this stage in my business, I'm not looking for anything more to qualify me as a businessman. I'm thinking more of how does my business qualify as a kingdom business. So when Joshua mentioned the opportunity to us, I felt like it was the right opportunity. If the inspiration surely should be a godly one, because on the day I met Pastor Kilama, he had just come into the country, he had not been around, and I think he left the week after. We talked, so I feel like, yes, my inspiration really was a yearning in me that God actually made possible through AVODA. I would describe AVODA as worship, value, and ethical. Most of it was really, but two things. Not one. I know you could have wanted one, but two things. One thing, meeting real Christians in business and they're explaining their journey of how they have gotten to where they are has been so impactful to me, because it's not really academic, it is life. People are sharing their life with you, so for me it has been so impactful to me. The second one has been the business theology course. I think my approach to business was really business. And when I had the module of business theology, it really emphasized the fact that business is God-ordained, and my view of business has changed completely, and I'm very intentional now on how I do business, and that has been an impact from AVODA. One of the things that AVODA has done or is doing in my life is the fact that I can meet with Christian men that are in business and sit down and think through my ideas. I think this is one thing that AVODA needs to continue to do to help me, because when we're making decisions, many times out there, we're not making really Christian decisions. So if you have a circle of people that you can sit down with and think through the decisions that you're making, and this is what I think AVODA can offer me, and already is, I think it will really be impactful and has already helped me with my dreams, because I sit with Joshua, I sit with June, and we talk about my business, and I think about things that I'm going through as well in life, and I can share with them, and I'm sure that these are people who will understand what I'm saying. So many times the journey of an entrepreneur is very lonely. So if you have people that you're sure you can sit with and have these conversations with, I think it's one thing that AVODA can do for me and continue to do. But I also think the other, as a leader at my church, is really to train more young men, even old men. And I think my dream would be filled in that, because I want to be helpful to as many entrepreneurs out there as I can. So that's another thing that AVODA can do for me, to ensure that more of the young men that I work with, that deal with at church, can get this kind of training. One of the things that I think could change is the fact that many of the entrepreneurs out there that I'm dealing with are people that are not yet earning any money in the business. And every time you introduce them to an AVODA program, the first threat is, how much are we paying? Do we have the money to pay? So maybe there should be some kind of conversation around how those that feel like I may not be able to afford, how can we make them comfortable to have the conversation, even when they feel like they can't afford it. I like the fact that AVODA has provided many other free masterclasses, and that has really enticed young men to say, this is the place to be. And if maybe something like that can encourage many people out there that might be thinking, oh, maybe the course is too expensive, to have the conversation so that they can be able to be here and experience what I've experienced as well. Someone in my place that I can, what could I pitch to them about the AVODA program? Personally, I didn't come at a point where I was starting the business. So I had so many questions, and I was thinking, well, is this for me? Maybe this is for newbies. I was amazed. The first few modules, I was amazed. As a Christian, I think it's important to have our foundation on Christ. And many times when we're starting the business, we're actually not thinking Christ-likely. So AVODA has given me an insight on how to really think Christ-like. And for any businessman who's out there, who's really doing business already and is a Christian, I think many of the things that we do as we do the business might not really be Christian. And when you sit down in a class like the AVODA Blue, you start to reflect and question about the things you're doing as a Christian in business, which helps build the Christian life that you're walking or journeying. And for me, the one thing that I'll tell anyone out there that is probably in business already and is thinking is AVODA Blue for me, is you need to come here and hear how God actually transforms your business into a godly business. What I would like to share, anything else about my business, maybe one thing. I've been very intentional to try and give young men opportunities, young men and women, and I think where I am, I'm already employing about 5 men from around my community, but I'm also employing many other young men working as casual laborers for me, and I think it has made me feel the difference, what I can do in the society, and I believe many other entrepreneurs out there can do the same, especially if we are intentional to understand what a godly business is like.